So 8 months ago, I posted this video on my channel about how I'm quitting my job without any real backup plan. So I thought I'd share with you 8 months on from that, how things are going, what things worked well for me, what things haven't worked well for me. Now welcome, if you're new here, this is slightly different content to what I usually post on this channel. I mostly post about finance and investing, and that does have some relationship to this video, but I thought it would just be quite an interesting update to share with you. Now if that kind of content seems interesting to you, do hit the subscribe button down below and you'll get notified of any future videos that come out, which might be more up your alley if that's your style. So in this video, I just want to share 3 things that have worked out well for me since I quit my job, and 3 things that haven't really worked out so well, or are definitely different from how I expected. Now the first thing that's good and that was interesting is that I've had definitely opportunities come up that I wouldn't have necessarily thought about or entertained or really noticed before. So since I quit my job, I've had a few people reach out to me and they've asked if I wanted to do some contract work or some work self-employed for them, and it's certainly helped me settle into just keeping my finances ticking along. Now there's been other opportunities as well. I've been able to write a newsletter and I've really enjoyed writing that, so I write that every week. If you're not on the newsletter, I really recommend it, but obviously I'm biased. You can find links to that down in the description below. And I've also found opportunities from an investing side of things that I probably wouldn't have pursued or even had the time to research if I hadn't quit my job, so had some free time to be able to make time to do those things. Now I think I've probably been in quite a fortunate position there, because I work in the construction industry as a civil structural engineer. Now I don't know if it's just the particular niche of the construction industry that I work in, but I think those skills are really in demand. There always seems to be work out there for people with that skill set, because generally I don't think we seem to train enough engineers as a country. Now the second great thing that I've noticed since I quit my job is that I've had a much better work-life balance. So just to give you a bit of a flavour of what my work-life balance was like before I quit my job, it was really hectic. So I was finding that I was getting into the office and I was just in meeting after meeting. Many of them weren't that relevant to what I was doing, so weren't actually pushing things forward. I was having to review other people's work, plan things, quote for jobs, but I wasn't actually getting that much time to get the design work done that I needed to get done. And so I was finding my most productive time was before 9 AM in the morning, so before most people were really logging on and getting stuff started, before most meetings are being scheduled, and then again after 5 PM in the evening. Now my employer had a policy about core working hours, which meant you had to be in the office or at least working between 10 and 3. And so that didn't really help me if I wanted to shift my hours later or much earlier to try and get out of those kind of meetings and distractions that were going around. But that meant that on a general day for me, I was leaving home at about 7 in the morning and I was generally getting home after about 7 in the evening. So from getting up to leaving for work, there was a bit of time there, and then it was 7 in the morning and I was leaving. I was then working a long day, getting home late, and then obviously having to cook and sort washing out, dishwasher, all that kind of just house admin stuff that you have to do in the evenings. And so I just wasn't really getting any free time to relax and chill. Now I think this was also having a bit of an impact on my wife, because obviously I wasn't getting to see her as much, and she works compressed hours, so that means she's around some days for the entire day, and other days she's not around very much. So we weren't really overlapping that much, and we were both really then tired on the weekends, so not really feeling like doing that much. Now since quitting my job, that's been way better because I've been able to focus my hours how I want to focus my hours. And that's worked out exactly as I would have wanted it. Now number 3 is a bit of an odd one, but it's generally better financial position. So even though I'm working less or certainly fewer hours in terms of trading some time for some money directly, my financial position is far better than it was 6-8 months ago. And that's just because some of those opportunities that I had that came up that I was able to research, I was able to put things into action and make a lot of, I guess it's paper money in a way, because investments are still held that have a certain value that fluctuates all the time. Now with a better financial position, it gives you even more flexibility and even more potential freedom in the future to pick and choose what I want to do and how I want to do it. And so from that point of view, you could say the last sort of 6-8 months have been the most prosperous financially of my life so far. In fact, my finances in that time have probably earned me more in terms of paper wealth than the rest of my life combined, which is kind of crazy to think about. Now I'm obviously painting quite a rosy picture there. That's the 3 things that for me have been really the biggest things that I've noticed. But before you go off and quit your job without a plan like I did, there are definitely some drawbacks that I think I need to tell you about. So the first is definitely cash flow. So obviously when you work for someone else, you might be paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, however you get paid, but you know there's some regular money coming in. So you're basically swapping your hours for money. And that's great and gives you a really good foundation to know how much you can spend per month and potentially make those financial commitments you wouldn't otherwise be able to make. But because I quit my job and don't have that steady stream of work, I've just been picking up odds and pieces, doing some contract work, doing the occasional bit of self-employed work when people have asked me. I've not really been going out there and trying to build a full business. And that's meant cash flow is really up and down every month. Some months I'll earn much more, some months I'll earn much less. And I know I've got holidays coming up in the future that I need to pay for because things are booked and deposits are down. So I might know that I need to work hard a particular month to try and come up with some extra money to try and pay for those holidays. Now, as someone who's gone from always being employed by others to having that kind of realization over the last sort of 8 months or so, that's been quite a roller coaster for me, and certainly something I found a little bit unnerving at the beginning. Now, I've kind of touched on it with number 1, but number 2 is that I generally earn less. So even though my pay per hour has gone up because I'm just charging myself out at higher hourly rates than I would earn if I was full-time employed, because I'm not doing full-time work, I'm earning less per month. And whilst that's had its benefits, it's allowed me to do more things, such as this YouTube channel, which I've really enjoyed posting videos here. It does mean that I've not been able to put fresh new money into holidays, experiences, savings that I would have liked to have been able to have done if I'd had that regular money coming in. So this isn't some massive success story where I quit my job and I'm now earning, 6 or 7 figures like you might see in online guru ads where they're trying to sell you a course. It's more of a realistic view that it's unlikely that you're going to be earning more than when you were working in your job if you just quit with no plan. And I'd hope that's fairly obvious. And finally, the number 3 thing that I've noticed that definitely isn't as good as when I was working before is that my social interactions have changed a lot. So before I was working in an office, so every day you're having that kind of office banter with people there and regularly in meetings on the phone. And so I was having a lot of interaction during the day with people. Whereas now that I'm more sort of doing freelance things, self-employed work, things like this on a YouTube channel where I'm just talking to a camera here in front of me, that's changed a lot. So it means that my main social interactions, whilst I'm still having phone calls, I'm still catching up with people on site visits that I might do and things like that, it's far less during the working day than it was before. And so that's meant that I've had to rely a lot more heavily on sort of my friends and friendship groups. And I'm really fortunate in that I do have a good selection of friends that I can meet up with, I can catch up with, that I have different experiences with and different interactions with. Because I do think it's really important to have a good community of people around you. And I say that even as someone who is naturally quite introverted. So 8 months down, where will I be in 8 months' time? To be honest, I have no idea. I don't know whether I'll get to the point where I decide that I do want to go back to some kind of full-time employment work, or whether I'll decide maybe I want to try and turn some of this self-employed work that I've been picking up into a fully fledged business. Maybe some of these side hustles that I've been trying out and you can see on this channel might suddenly work out and become the golden fountain of money coming in, which means I never have to work again. I'd say it's pretty unlikely, but who knows? But what I can say is that I'm really looking forward to the future. It's changed my outlook on things, having to quit my job, and it's definitely changed my outlook for the better. Now, if you found this video quite interesting, YouTube is recommending this one to you. So this isn't one that I've picked, this is one that the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll like, so it's a chance for you to see how well the algorithm knows you. But in the meantime, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button down below. I find them really encouraging to see people liking and interacting with the videos. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.